Hey, what's up? It's Julie B here today with my kind of weekly. It seems to be like I'm doing this mostly on Friday, but going live again today. And if you are here listening and looking at the business owner behind the scenes stuff that I talk about, thanks for being here. First of all, bring that over there so I can look at it while I'm talking to you. I got some notes over here. I think most business owners I know have two screens, and I have three actually. So lots of things to look at and review. But, anyways, before I get into it, I do want to remind you all that if you want to support this content creation, definitely go to the Buy Me a Coffee app. I will put the link in the description, I think. And you can also just subscribe to my channel. That's helpful. And then when I go live like this, I think you'll get a notification. So, anyways, all of that stuff's really helpful, and I really appreciate it when you do that. I've picked up a couple of subscribers last week, so thank you to those individuals who subscribed. And hopefully, I'll pick up more this week. So, yeah, this week, one of the things, it's funny, I literally just got a call from my mom. And one of the things that I was going to talk about is, who am I? How do I define myself? Like, as a business owner, as a daughter, as a partner, as a wife, as a friend, like, in what order do those definitions go for me? I think that that's something that, we business owners can struggle with sometimes is, what is the order? And earlier this week when I was having my weekly staff meeting, I actually said to my employee that I also believe that I am a writer first. I certainly am a content creator. I'm a podcaster. I make videos. I was doing a lot of short form videos. You probably saw them on here on YouTube Shorts uh, a month or so ago. But when it really comes down to it at the end of the day, for me, everything starts with writing. Like, even this, I have a couple of notes right in front of me that I want to make sure I hit. And one of the ways I'm defining myself is as a writer and as an author. And in the world we live in today, there's so many ways to create content that sometimes you got to really pick your lane. And I'm going to go ahead and lead with writing. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop making videos. I do love making these videos, but that is one thing that has become very clear to me. And the other thing that kind of going back into, like, how do I define myself? Well, writer is one of them, business owner is one of them. And there's also these other definitions like daughter, and assigning like a label of good to that, a good daughter or great daughter, taking calls from my parents when they call, or being able to go to doctor's appointments with them when they need it, kind of not last minute, but certainly within a week time frame, and having to move my calendar around sometimes to accommodate that, having to say no sometimes because I can't make it. um I always feel a little bit guilty when I have to say no to my parents, which is interesting, when I can't make it to something, like a doctor's appointment. But this all goes back to defining, who am I, and which priority comes first. And the truth of the matter is, it varies. It varies from minute to minute. Sometimes it varies from day to day. Um, and sometimes in there is, I've got to make sure that I'm maybe sometimes being self-centered in a good way, as my coach Angie would say. Sometimes you do need to be self-centered and take care of yourself, which right now I'm going through physical therapy. A month ago, I thought I was going to be a day out from surgery today. I was supposed to have surgery yesterday, but thankfully I started taking care of myself and explored physical therapy, and I didn't end up having surgery. So that's a good thing. So yeah, I don't know, like, defining yourself and the priorities in which I define myself, that's something that it runs through my mind a lot as a business owner. And it maybe not quite in that same context, but definitely I have to make choices sometimes of, do I want to show up as the daughter, or do I have to pick business ownership over being the daughter? Do I want to be the friend? Do I have to pick something else over that? And you know, that's I think a lot of people struggle with that, not just business owners, professionals probably of anybody who has a job or multiple roles they play in their life, whether they're, working in corporate America or they're a stay-at-home mom. There's multiple roles that people play. And business owners, even though, yes, we have picked the the path of business ownership, we have multiple roles too, and I just think that's an interesting conversation. So, one thing I wanted to talk about another thing I wanted to talk about today was, I've kind of had this this past, like, couple of weeks, have felt very strongly like I have wasted this year. When I say that, and I look back on the things that I've accomplished this year, it's kind of funny to say. It's a little bit of syndrome creeping up, and I feel like I've wasted the year because in my personal brand, I've done a lot of things. I've tried a lot of things, a lot of offerings, a lot of services that just haven't stuck. It's been a hard year to figure out, and for those of you who know my story, I'm kind of transitioning from being only seen as a marketing agency owner, as a social media specialist, into being a speaker and author, on a trainer on leadership, and especially within the small business arena, and working with key employees to help them come along as well. And I feel like I've wasted a lot of this year. And when I say that, it's crazy because I signed a book deal as a first time author in the business owner realm. That's really unheard of. And that is, if I had done nothing else this year other than write a manuscript and secure a true blue legit book contract with a publisher, um, that that should be enough. And but I just had this nagging feeling, and then what's interesting is I kinda talked to some of my friends and family and business advisors in the past week or so about this, and, I feel like I've failed this year, to be perfectly honest, and in pretty much every other category, and I haven't. The reality is I haven't failed. I've done some pretty awesome things. And the other thing is that, I'm kinda trying to take my own advice here. Is it really failing if you learn something? Like, I say that to people, and, one thing that I've learned is what doesn't work this year. I've certainly learned a lot of that, and that's valuable, knowing I think knowing what doesn't work is often, more valuable than knowing what does work, to be perfectly honest, because that helps you eliminate options, and like most business owners, you have a lot of options in front of you with most decisions. So if you can eliminate some of those options, it makes the decision easier to make, which is, ultimately we all want that as well, right? Making decisions is a real sometimes it can become very hard and challenging. You can kind of get bogged down with decision fatigue. So fewer options sometimes are, that's the better route to go. So we've eliminated a lot of things, and I think we've gotten a lot of clarity, and the vision is very clear now. Everybody on the team is pretty much saying the same vision, which is what you always want. Um, but what's interesting, this all kind of tied together with I was reading this like random business article in this really obscure, not obscure, really very niche. It's not, it's more niche than obscure, but it was a magazine that was made for countertop fabricators. And they had interviewed a business coach, and one of the things the business coach had said was that hope is not a business strategy. And I paused at that because while I agree with that, hope cannot be your business strategy. It can't be your only business strategy. And it's not, something that to build a business on. But I think hope, and faith and belief in yourself, and hope that it will work out. I think those do have a part in business. You have to It comes back to kind of the trusting of yourself, trusting of your vision, trusting your decision-making process and your abilities. It's not exactly hope, but I think hope comes out of trust when you know that things typically work out for you, or that certain things typically play out really well, and that ultimately you usually come out on top. I think those things do belong in your business strategy somewhere. Certainly you need, your marketing and your sales plan and your services and your operations and all of those things that go into running a business. But there is a place for hope and belief and faith in a business strategy. And maybe, that kind of goes back to who I am. I am one of those people that I'm very optimistic most of the time. I believe in myself, I believe in the vision. We have a very important mission and vision to help 1 million business owners over the next decade by 2032. So 10 years from now, around this time 10 years from now, we will have helped 1 million business owners. That is the vision, and I'm very excited about it. We are defining those numbers now. They're going to come through things like people watching this video and listening to the podcast, my email subscriber list. If you have not subscribed to my email, make sure you do. We are getting ready to change change the whole format of that and make it more of a curated source of awesomeness, basically, of business owner awesomeness. Not just my stuff, just like that much of my stuff, but I'm hoping to bring in others, other people's businesses and other business owners, and really shine a spotlight on those business owners. So, I think that hope and faith, they have a place in your business plan. And when I say faith, I mean faith in yourself, faith in what you're trying to do. If you're spiritual and you have faith in that regard, that can be part of your, that as well. But faith and more in what you're doing and belief in more of what you're doing, I think that is part of your business plan. So I kind of took note of that when I saw that hope is not a business strategy. And while I agree it can't be the only thing, I think it is part of business strategy, because otherwise, business owners, I don't think, would go into business if they weren't hopeful. I think that's just something that kinda comes along with being a business owner, is being a hopeful person and a person who believes. So, I wanted to talk about that too, because while I feel like this year has been hard, while I feel like I've had a lot of hard lessons and I've learned a lot of things that don't work, I'm getting closer to the things that do. And it's because of my hope and my belief in what we are doing, and my hope that it will help individuals. That keeps me going right now. So I just thought that was, don't, if you hear that advice, because I've heard it before, but reading it in this time was different. It's just hitting me. It's just landing differently. If you hear the advice, you know, don't think that hope does have a place in your business, and so does belief. So I'll just leave it there. But yeah, I had to take a step back, and with all of my "Who am I?" questions, and I took a step back this week, last week too, and really tried to define more of who I am, and also just giving myself basically giving myself a break, to understand that I'm still evolving, I'm still developing, and I know that I'm a writer first. I do know that. I finally said that out loud. I've been thinking that for a while. But I'm also all of these other things, and sometimes one takes priority over the other. That doesn't make me good or bad, or it just makes me who I am. So, yeah, it's an interesting kind of dynamic when you're thinking about it. And again, guys, remember that this is really behind the scenes. I know this is rambling. I know this is all kind of all over the place, but this is like a week of thoughts coming together at the end of the week. And I do it this way because I want you to see the behind the scenes of being a business owner. This is what it looks like. I've been doing this for over 14 years now. And yes, I do have times where I'm actually not talking or doing any type of work. After this, in fact, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to go help my mom with her Wi-Fi problem, or her laptop problem, or I'm going to stay home and decorate for Christmas. So one of those two things is happening after this, and I haven't decided which, but I will when I get done doing this live. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's all over the place, but these are the decisions that business owners, it's kind of what goes through somebody's mind. I think a lot of the times, business owners tend to have this kind of bouncing from one thing to another tendency. And I certainly have that as well. But I kind of got my brain right and realized, all of the stuff that happened this year, I've learned a lot. And so it's not a failure because I learned so much. I'm taking my own advice there. Um, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is I'm reading the book, what got you here won't get you there. That book's been around for a while. This is the first time I've read it, and I'm just getting into it. I'm only a few chapters in, but what's interesting is, at least what I've read thus far, is that when you read the title, you think it's going to tell you a whole bunch of things to do, and I believe where it's going, based on what I've read thus far, is it's more about what to stop doing, or just what to not do. Um, and so that's really interesting too. I think that, a lot of the times, I know, at least for myself, I kind of overcorrect. When I'm course correcting, I overcorrect. And that's probably something I need to stop doing. Um, but it just makes me think about, like, what else do I need to stop doing in business? That's one of my favorite questions to ask. I don't ask it enough. I haven't asked it enough this year. Doing a lot of short form videos for TikTok and YouTube Shorts, probably gonna stop doing a lot of that. Um, but I think, that's a good question to ask this time of year, is what else do you need to stop doing? I'm certainly asking myself that. I would encourage you to ask yourself that as well. So, who am I? I'm Julie B. I'm a business owner. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a writer. And I'm somebody who goes live, it seems like, on Friday afternoons to give you behind the scenes of business ownership, and what has happened in my week, and some of the things that I'm struggling with or being challenged by. And I really hope that I hope this helps somebody. I know that I'm just kind of getting started with this channel, and if you find this at all helpful, just subscribe to it. Subscribe to my channel at least. I'd love to have you sign up for my email newsletter, because I put out a lot of other content that way. But just let me know if this is helpful, because that really helps me decide whether or not to keep doing something. I don't want to just be, like I've said in the past, just another kind of voice out there. But I hope that these ramblings help somebody, so that yeah, even if it's just to laugh at me, like, honestly, even if it's to provide comic relief for you, business owners need that. So if I'm doing that, let me know that as well, and I'll be happy to keep doing them. So until next week, thank you so much for following me and watching this. And I'm sure I'll be back next week. It'll be the Friday after Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'll do a video next week, but if I do, you'll see it. And if not, I'll catch you the following week. But I hope you have a great weekend. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you later.